Welcome back, everybody. This is J.R. Flatter here with our distinguished guest for the week, and she's going to have an opportunity in a minute to tell her about herself and what she does for us, what she does for a living in the government contracting industry. So this is the secrets of government contracting, and so every week we get together and talk about how to succeed in this industry. So with that, Amanda, I'll pass the floor to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us what you do as a contracts administrator and anything else that comes to mind.
Hi. So I've been in the contracting business since 2008. I joined and I've done a little bit of everything. Mostly recently I've been doing business development and contract administration. Sometimes those two things go hand in hand. And what I like about that is that you're just reading through the documentation given by the government, helping break that down for your company and helping them learn how to succeed and putting a lot of the complex terms into layman terms so that we understand what it is that the government needs, and then finding holes where we need to go back to the government and really understand what it is that they would like for their solution.
Okay. Is it fun work for you? Do you enjoy it?
I think it's fun. My 5-year-old tells people all I do all day is read things and sign. So she doesn't think that's fun, but I think it's fun. I enjoy everything is written. All your answers are basically written there. And so that's a great thing. All the results are right there. You just have to learn how to read through all of the other text.
So if I were thinking about getting into your field, how might I prepare myself?
So Defense Acquisition University offers great classes on everything acquisition related. So I would definitely recommend taking some of those classes. They're free. You sign up online, you take them, in your own free time. I definitely started that early in my career. And they just help you get familiar with the contracting process overall, and then you can get down into different sections of contracting.
Are there any certifications I need?
There's no certifications required. Of course, there's like affiliations that you can, achieve, things of that sort, but there's no certifications required.
Okay. So one of the things we talk about a lot at Flatter are our 5 constituent groups. So I'll name them off really quickly. The team, so that's you and me and everybody else here on the team. Our teaming partners, who we team with to win work and deliver work. Our customers, so our government customers across whatever agencies we might be working with. Our contracting officers, we work very closely with them. And then the small business offices. So of those 5 constituent groups, where do you spend the most of your time engaged?
I guess with the contracting officers, if I'm not speaking directly to them, I'm reading the documents that they have published.
So we have also 5 phases of business, and proposal writing is one of those phases, and then contract execution is one of those phases. Which one of those are you most heavily involved in?
Definitely the execution, although I do assist when there are proposals that are being written. I often work with the team here, making sure that they understand the FAR requirements and things that are listed.
So you mentioned the FAR. What is the FAR for our listeners not in this industry yet?
I'm not sure. Is it Federal Acquisition Regulation?
Yeah, gold star, spot on. Yeah.
I couldn't remember the R exactly, which I should. But yes.
Yeah, it happens to us all, everyone. Everything we work in every day, we forget that tiny little detail.
Right. Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about the FAR. What is it, and how does it impact your work?
So the FAR is a ever-changing list of requirements that the government puts out and references. And I say ever-changing because it literally is always changing. They used to actually be in print, and now they don't even recommend buying print copies or printing anything out. It's all online. You can reference it, and it's almost like the law of contracting. You go there and you see the FAR for what is.
So you mentioned this thing called the FAR. What is that, and why is it important to what you do?
So the FAR is a ever-changing list of requirements that the government puts out. And it's online. You can look it up just through Google. And the requirements cover all aspects of contracting. And I think simply it's easier to reference a FAR clause and go there and read it than including that all in documentation, especially for proposals and contracts, because some of them are quite lengthy. And they cover all sorts of things from, what is a small business? And they're ever changing, like I said. Mm-hmm. So that's why they're listed online. They used to be printed, but they don't print them anymore. Or if they do, then they're not recommended. I've never seen them.
So I've heard that people have PhDs in the FAR. It's that complex.
Yeah.
Several thousand pages. How much of that do I need to know to have a job like yours?
I'm not as experienced as maybe like an attorney, right? But I think that more than knowing all of the clauses, you have to know where to find them and read them.
So when you've got a contract in front of you, we've won a new piece of work, and I would assume that goes to you, and then you deconstruct it and tell the company what it says from your professional perspective. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, right? Just break it out into simple terms, and give examples of how we can comply.
Okay. And so the FAR clauses that you go read, they're in that contract that you just received?
Yes.
Okay.
They're always listed in the contract, and in the proposal, they usually also list them.
Okay, so that's where you get involved probably in the business development process, looking at the clauses, the FAR clauses in the performance work statement or the request for proposals.
Yes.
So then you just shown us another piece of your job, and that's in the front end, you deconstruct the performance work statement or the request for proposal and tell us if we're competitive, if we can compete, or what we might need to acquire. So what might be some of those things that you might uncover? One that comes to mind for me is if it's a classified document, if it's a classified contract, do I need a SCIF? Or am I the right small business size and socioeconomic status? What else might be in there that we need to look for?
I think the size one is the one that I always look for the most, right? Because that's a immediate,
poison pill.
Right. Yeah. If you're not the right size, it doesn't matter how great your proposal is. I can't think of any other right now.
No worries.
Yeah.
So what are the major components of a contract that you get and have to review, and what is the starting, middle, and end of your role once you get that contract? Talk to us about that a little bit.
Right. So right now, I'll give some examples, right? Sure. So like we were awarded a contract for a small business, and as a SDVOSB set aside. Right now, part of the things that I'm doing is just ensuring that our subcontracting plan adheres to that 51% requirement of, a SDVOSB award. Working with the program managers and the other, executive or execution team members to understand that, to help them understand the contract requirements, because they're outperforming the work. So they know the customer's expectations, but they may not know the contract's expectations and requirements as well. Sure. So just making sure that I'm interfacing with both. and that we have funding, right? That's really important. We have to be able to, work with the finance team, ensure we have funding, and communicate when there is a need. And of course, flow that funding down to our subcontractors.
So it sounds like you work a lot with the program managers and a lot with the executive leadership of the company. With the executive leadership, telling them what they're required to deliver, telling them how to stay compliant, and then with the program managers, telling them what are their finite tasks. And some of those tasks that come to mind are monthly status reports, quality objectives. You said something about staffing. We're a small business and we have to have at least 51% of the work. So are we staying compliant to that? What are some other categories of compliance that you keep track of for us?
If we're hiring new staff, ensuring that they're compliant with the requirement that the government has set out, and telling the contracting office when we are replacing key personnel and making sure that they are in agreement there. Requesting
I just saw one of those come into my email box today. Right? We changed out the key. This is a really good example of what you do. We wanted to change out the key leadership. You told us there's a clause in the contract that says you need to notify the contracting officer. So we notified the contracting officer. She approved it, came back to you, you came back to us, and we made the changes. That's the kind of compliance that we're talking about.
Yes.
There's tons more. A person in your position probably needs to have a real close attention to detail, sounds like.
Yes. Be a very deliberate person.
Yeah, deliberate and detailed. Okay. Would you recommend this line of work for somebody thinking about coming into government contracting?
I would say yes, as long as you like to read. I have to keep saying that. There's a lot of reading. I like to read. If you're, good with building relationships, I think that also is important.
Okay.
You want to have a relationship with your contracting office.
Yeah. And the PMs, you have to be able to work with program managers. You have to be able to work with senior executives. So one of the requirements of coming on as a distinguished guest is you got to tell us one of your secrets. How did you succeed in life, or how did you succeed in this industry?
I think that one of my keys to success in anything is I write everything down.
Okay.
Even when I'm on the phone, having a conversation with a PM that calls me, I'm writing everything down, because sometimes what you hear and what you write are two different things, or you get stuck on a topic. But I definitely write everything down. It's really important to go back and reference, especially when you're talking to your customer. You want to make sure you have it in writing, and then go back and send an email, especially again with the contracting office. Just want to follow up. Thank you for the discussion. This is what I heard. Please let me know if there's anything that I need to change. I just want to make sure I'm, meeting expectations.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice, not only for people in your profession, but any profession. Have that ability to go back and detail what date, what time, and who it was in the conversation. Well, thanks for that.
Yeah.
So last part, we want to get 2 or 3 names from you of people we should invite in the future as distinguished guests. Not only their names, but why do you recommend them for our audience?
Okay. So I'm going to start with Wendy Maurer. She is a local businesswoman here in Stafford. And I just think that she is a great inspiration to women here in the area. I worked directly underneath of her earlier in my career, and she was a great mentor. I think that she has a lot of experience that she could share, and great advice. Ted Adams III. He is a businessman that I know, and he has a lot of unique business opportunities. He works in contracting, but he also has a lot of unique approaches, which I think that's very different. And then John Marlowe. John Marlowe, again, was someone I worked with, and he was a great mentor. He has a lot of experience in various parts of government contracting. and he also has some experience in the military himself.
Well, that's wonderful. We'll capture those 3 names and send out invitations to them for future appearances. And thank you so much for joining us today. It's going to be very valuable for our listeners as we work with them to become leaders in the government contracting industry. So have a great day and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.